The residential sector refers to the usage of energy in homes in applications such as heating and cooling systems, appliances, refrigeration, and lighting. Home development has made much progress, from cave dwellings in prehistoric times to modern, lavish suburban homes. However, one element that has remained the same is the primary purpose of homes, which is to provide protection from intense weather conditions and other types of dangers. Yet, in today's society, homes serve many purposes such as comfort, health, and peace of mind.
The various applications of energy used in a home have a major impact on the comfort, health, and safety of the occupants as well as their utility bills. An energy-efficient home is one that properly applies its components to effectively reduce energy while improving the quality of life for its occupants and the environment as a whole. More efficient homes rely on factors such as proper air sealing, insulation, windows, duct sealing, heating and cooling, lighting, and appliances.
According to the National Academies of Science, space heating and cooling collectively account for approximately 43% of the residential sector. Compared to earlier centuries, society has made great progress regarding heating and space cooling systems. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, in order to heat one's home, it was as simple as tossing an additional log or coal into the fireplace or stove. On the other hand, common tendencies for residential cooling measures were to fan oneself or sit in the backyard under a tree.
Towards the end of the 18th century, scientists were evaluating the heat produced by combustion and other chemical and physical processes. An example of the central heating concept was implemented by Daniel Pettibone in 1808 in the Pennsylvania Hospital in Pennsylvania. The following principle of convection was displayed. Hot air expands on heating, causing it to be lighter and rise, thus producing a vacuum that cold air rushes to fill and to be heated.
On the other hand, in terms of space cooling systems, one of the main forms is mechanical air conditioning. Mechanical air conditioning was reportedly introduced at the beginning of the 20th century in order to manipulate humidity levels indoors. These systems are utilized either to add moisture to the air or remove the excess depending on the purpose of the installation. The two basic types of air conditioning were comfort air conditioning for human relaxation and process air conditioning for setting atmospheric conditions for industrial productivity.
History proves that mechanical air conditioning systems were used primarily to solve complications such as crowded schools or overheated factories. The rise of air conditioning in homes and office buildings occurred around the post-World War II building boom. After the Great Depression, in 1932, engineers at De La Verge Mechanical Company introduced the air-cooled compressor, which enhanced the development of the air conditioner as a plug-in appliance. Residential air conditioning was then divided into a central air conditioning system and a window air conditioner that could be powered with an electrical outlet.
In general, space heating is powered by electricity and natural gas, while the primary source of space cooling is electricity. The main way that electricity is generated is through combusting fossil fuels and using extremely hot and pressurized steam to drive turbogenerators. In his beginner's guide, Energy, Vaclav Smil describes how the combustion of fossil fuels, which has been the leading way of generating electricity since 1882, produces about 63% of the world's electricity. Smil goes on to explain that in spite of that, the best efficiencies of the practice are only about 40%. The majority of states in the U.S. use fossil fuels to generate electricity, and of the types of fossil fuels, coal is the most commonly used. Mining coal can result in tainting rainwater, which can affect the composition of rain and stream water. Coal-fired power plants emit harmful air that lead to poor air quality and can affect human health.
A carbon footprint looks at an individual's activities and measures his or her consequent carbon dioxide emissions. Typically, about 1/4 of an individual's carbon footprint comes from home energy use. The residential sector also accounts for 17% of greenhouse gas emissions. According to recent trends, space heating will decline and space cooling systems will continue to increase due to global climate changes. In order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, Americans need to not only cut back on their household energy use, but also increase their energy efficiency. There are many improvements that a homeowner can make to decrease their energy consumption. Some investments include installing photovoltaic solar panels on the roof, replacing inefficient appliances with energy-efficient ones, and installing highly insulated windows. Despite the wide variety of energy-efficient solutions, people with smaller incomes become more concerned with how they can maximize their energy savings on a more limited budget. One of the best investments for a homeowner with a limited budget is to install highly insulating windows.
A great amount of energy goes into the heating and cooling of houses, but much of that is lost through windows, doors, and skylights. Windows lose energy more readily than the walls or floor and can prove to be a major source of energy inefficiency. According to the EPA, Energy Star certified windows, doors, and skylights not only shrink energy bills, but can also reduce a homeowner's carbon footprint by about 7 to 15%.
Even with improvements in energy efficiency, the amount of electricity used for space cooling is expected to increase based on several factors. First, Americans are migrating to warmer areas and will require more energy to maintain an ideal indoor temperature. Also, consumers are choosing generally larger houses, thus increasing the volume of the space that requires climate control, and with rising temperatures, even more energy is needed to cool their homes.
Even so, it is expected that in order to meet society's demand, energy efficiency must rise to the forefront of further development of energy systems. Whether you live in an apartment, townhouse, or a single-family home, it is best to practice energy-efficient methods, not only to reduce energy bills, but to preserve what is left of the environment.